here we go. Vav. What page is that?
82. Oh wait, I'm in the totally wrong.
90%.
Wow, Jody.
Wait, what?
What page?
82.
82. All right, 82.
You know,
Yeah, I have it on.
I've been busy.
I have
All right, here we go. Okay, so we are discussing that everything that a person does, both by way or including action, speech, and thought, all of those things have effects on the world around us. And the way that happens is that the things that we do, say, and think go up and they affect the koiches, which are the powers, the forces that make things happen here in this world. And then as they affect those things, that comes back down to this world and affects the world around us as we know it. So essentially, a person, through their free will, through their choice, a person can affect change to what would have otherwise been. So let's start again from Vav, where he says, V'amna, achar hatnua, but now, once you've made the movement, habachirius, which was a product of your free will, you've made a choice to do, say, or think something, so then automatically a movement is going to happen from that is the natural course. So if I decide to move a chair, the natural course of events is that if there's a bug under the place that I'm about to put the chair, it's going to get squashed, right? That's a natural course of events that's going to happen because of my choice. Because once these kaichas, the powers that are up in the spiritual realm, have been affected by the choices that I've made, so those will in turn affect the happenings down here on earth because of the things that were done by us. They then go up, they affect those kaichas up there, and that then comes back down and affects the world however Hashem sees it fit. Now, how that actually works, he says, the way all of this works, there's a lot of detail involved. Based on the way Hashem's wisdom has decreed, the depth of his system that he uses, so that it should be best suited for creation. So whatever needs to happen to keep the world exactly where it needs to be, to make things go where they need to go, make things happen when they need to happen, Hashem works all of that out based on, or working with, the decisions that we make. And these things are measured in many different characteristics, many different barometers, metrics, both in the connection between the things that we do and those spiritual forces, and then from those forces back down here to earth. Both of those, in each of those steps, there's a lot of deciding, there's a lot of process that needs to go on for Hashem to decide exactly what to make happen and what not to make happen. And based on these deep secrets, all of the happenings that Hashem makes happen in the world, all are surrounding these and revolve around these processes that we've mentioned, with everything that has happened and everything that will happen. So essentially what we're saying here is that Hashem's got everything worked out. It's not like we're going to surprise him with something that we choose. And everything's going to work out based on the things that we do. So Hashem is going to make sure that all the different things that go on are things that are going to still not mess with the plan of what needs to happen. So based on the way we think, typically we think of cause and effect. If I decide to do something, do we have any more chairs?
Yeah.
Do another chair. Oh, there's one right there. So based on the way we view the world, we think of cause and effect, and we think that if I'm going to do X, it's going to cause Y to happen. And as we learned earlier, sometimes that's simply the case. It's just that simple. It's a classic cause and effect. It works the way we think it's going to work, the way we expect it to work, and that all makes sense. However, there are times in which that can't work out that way. Because for any of the major big reasons that Hashem has things going on in the world and they need to end up in certain places, Hashem might maneuver things to make sure that it doesn't happen the way you expect it to happen. And we mentioned many examples of people who try to accomplish things and they don't end up happening, not to any fault of their own, but the circumstances just don't work out for whatever reason. So we're saying that that can all be a product of Hashem's maneuvering things to make sure that the plans all work out the way they need to. So, with that being the case, Hashem still has to work within the choices that we make and the things that we do. So, if we're able to accomplish something, that accomplishment is a product of what we've done. It's a product of our choice. At the same time, though, it's also because Hashem allowed that and worked that into the system to make that accomplishment a reality. Because if it wasn't supposed to work, it wouldn't have worked. Even though I put in the exact same amount of effort, and I put in the exact same, precision with whatever I was doing, and did everything exactly the same, one time Hashem will say, I'm going to let you do this, and this is going to work. And another time Hashem might say, no, I can't let this happen, and something's going to go wrong along the way somewhere. And the idea is the same. We do things, they go up, and the degree to which they go up is decided upon, and then it affects the powers up there, and then as it comes back down again, the degree and the placement and the way it's going to work, the way that's going to come back down, that is all decided in order to fit Hashem's plan. So Hashem maneuvers everything and machinates to make it all work out, that everything should be exactly the way it needs to be within the choices that we make, working with those choices, not against them. Okay, does this make sense?
Yeah.
All right, good?
Yep.
Shai, you got it? All right, good.
Seems like
Okay.
it's almost like a recap of like everything.
Yeah. It's the end of the paragraph that we were in the middle of, so. All right, so let's continue. Zion. Vihine.
Rabbi?
Yes,
Rabbi?
yes.
Oh, no. Sorry, it's going to be on video, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Crap.
Go ahead, Doc.
Sorry.
So is that.
This is we're on number 6, right?
We just finished 6.
Right, so just really quickly, the very first sentence in the book uses the words every indeterministic influence. Every indeterministic influence, however, also results in deterministic influences. I followed what you were saying, but when I look back at those words, I kind of got lost on whether it's important to know how those words fit with what you're saying.
You're reading the beginning of 6? Yeah.
Yeah, every indeterministic influence
So
results in deterministic influences.
right. So that the wording that we're using for that is everything that is a choice creates something which happens naturally, a result. Are those easier words for you to understand? I know a medical school, they're not very good at vocabulary. Did that help?
Repeat the sentence one more time.
I said the wording that we're using is free choice. The things that we do based on our choices have results which are not by choice, they're just the natural results of the things that happen.
So indeterministic meaning choice. Is that what you're saying?
Does that work? Yes? Okay, I got a thumb up. I got one thumb up. All right, I'm gonna assume that means we should continue. So we're gonna continue. All right, Zion. V'hinei. B'yais shegazra chachmasi yizbarach. Since Hashem's wisdom has decreed, sheyiyeh ba'olam mitzius hatoiv v'hara, that there should be in the world the concepts and the realities of good and bad, as we've learned earlier. Hine techilas inyan zeh. So the beginning of this, the start of this, tzarech sheyiyeh b'kochos ha'ela shoroshim, has to be in those spiritual forces, in the kochos, because those are the roots of everything that happens. And then after that, from that will then trickle down the things that will happen down here on earth. Okay, so in order for there to be anything down here on earth, it has to start with those kochos. It has to start up there in those spiritual forces. Hashem arranged these kochos to be the sources of the things that happen, as we mentioned, beseder uv'tchuna, with precision and with a form, with an order. They should be all specifically positioned. Sheyipo b'hem, k'fima sheshayach b'hem, tikkun v'kilkul. That should come from them, whatever is appropriate, in the ways of building and in the ways of destroying. Meaning, v'hainu, meaning to say, sheyimatz b'hem matzav tov v'loi tov. That within these kaiches will be good things and not good things. V'amitas tuva matzav hiyeh, and the reality of the goodness is sheyiyu b'hachana le'ar b'ar panav yisbarach v'yar lehem. That these kaiches should be prepared and suited to receive the light from Hashem. And we learned about this earlier. This is going back a couple of weeks. We learned that all goodness is Hashem's light coming through. And all evil is Hashem's light not making it through. It's Hashem's light being blocked. So the goodness is as Hashem's influence comes to the world. So it comes starting with the kaiches. That's where it starts. So when it gets to the kaiches, if the kaiches are properly attuned and they're properly prepared and calibrated, then they're going to retain the entire light that Hashem is pointing at them, and then it will shine that light down to the world. So as long as everything remains clear, then these kaiches are able to accomplish all of the goodness. So that's the good side. The havchai, and the opposite is shetechsar mehem ha'achana hazais, that these kaiches might be missing some of that ability. They might be missing some of the opportunity to really get the entire light from Hashem. V'yis'alei mehem, and they will be hidden from Hashem's light. So then the products of these different kinds of kaiches are going to be the way we see goodness and the lack of goodness here in the world. So what he's saying is, as we learned earlier, all goodness in the world comes as Hashem's light coming straight down through the kaiches. But sometimes, as we learned, it's kind of like a shade or like a tinted window or something where the light doesn't all quite make it through. And if it doesn't all make it through, then we have imperfection. Then we have a lack of goodness. We don't have everything that we need to have. And if you don't have all of that goodness, that's when the opportunity for evil abounds. That's when it's possible to have the things which are not good in the world. So understand, he's going to explain this more, but it all is based on the way the light comes through. The light comes through clearly, comes through fully, it's all good. When things start getting dark and murky and gray, the light's not quite making it through, that's the shadow, that's the evil, that's where the world can go wrong, and that's where things and people and events can all go wrong. It's when these lights aren't making it all the way through because they're being filtered through one of the kaiches that is obscuring it. So again, as he said, there are kaiches that are completely clear and they take all the light and they spread it, and there are some kaiches that have some degree of obscurity and they kind of filter it and the light doesn't all make it through, and that's where the opportunity for evil is born in the world. And as he said, this is all part of the plan. The world has to have both good and evil. If it was just one without the other, then there'd be no choice and then there'd be no purpose for the world. The reason we're here is to choose the good from the bad. So the way that bad comes about is not, as we'll explain in a minute, it's not Hashem sending bad, it's Hashem's light not making it all the way through, and therefore the result is the opportunity for bad, which people and things and whatever, the atmosphere, whatever it is, might take advantage of and use that for evil.
That's to like set up some sort of test for somebody. In other words,
It's all, yeah, exactly.
question.
Or to accomplish certain things, yes. Go ahead.
Okay, so once Mashiach comes and all that good stuff changes and we all become like clear skinned and whatever else, is there gonna be evil still?
No.
How are you gonna like? Well, I guess there won't be a purpose for this challenge or
Correct.
these things.
Challenges will be over at that
I
point.
feel like I'm gonna be bored.
No.
No, you won't.
You won't be bored.
No.
Imagine if you were on a...
one second, I just want to pause that. So that means that things that are not evil
Yeah.
is what makes your life exciting. everything.
I don't know. Not. Have you been in my
everything
brain?
good
All right, let me-
is boring
let me give you an
and
example.
evil.
How long have you known me?
All right, let me give you a very
That's
simple
what I
example.
understood from the question.
Simple example. Let's say you are on you're on the football team.
Okay.
Okay, you're on the
I
cheerleading
appreciate
squad. How's that?
No.
Okay. No. Okay. Track.
Great.
Great.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're on the track, right?
Okay.
And you're at the final, the championship meet, right? What's it
Mhm.
called? It's gotta be a name for it.
I mean, like, depends on what level you're talking about.
Championship
You're really
meet.
gonna
You couldn't give me a simple answer.
State champs. State championship.
State championships. All right. So you're at the state championships and Olympics. Now we're shooting for the stars.
Have you seen me? Run?
Okay. This is theoretical. Okay.
I know.
Yes. So you're at the state championships.
I can't even imagine.
And you win. Okay. Is the moment after you win boring? If you say yes,
no,
then you're lying.
No, it's not boring.
It's not,
I like
right?
celebrate it for like a couple minutes.
Right.
And then I pick
So
the next
now,
goal.
exactly.
This is
So
boring.
if
Then I'm bored.
right. So if
couple
minutes
so the
doesn't
times of
end.
Mashiach
Yeah.
is a not permanent, but it's a very long state of the minute after you win.
Okay.
So dancing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Posing for the cameras.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Right.
it. That's
Running
it.
around with the flag on my back.
Yeah.
So on and so forth.
Feeling the greatness, yes, of accomplishment.
Elation.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
One little point here I did fail to mention that Chaim Friedlander does point out here. He says that when he said that the depths of all these calculations are the things that makes the world the way it is, he says that if a person would understand them, then a person would understand all the secrets of the universe, because everything works through this system. So if a person were to be able to ever understand that system, they would understand everything about the universe, how everything works, why everything happens. And obviously, Hashem is not giving that information out. And even Moshe, who was on the highest level of understanding that man was able to reach, he also, some of this was hidden. A very small part of it was hidden from him because mankind cannot reach that level of understanding. Now, he does say, though, which was nice to see, that in the future, I assume this means in the world to come, Chaim Friedlander writes that Hashem will actually show us how this process works. And we will be privileged to see exactly how everything caused everything and what did what and how the whole system worked and how everything in the world was all focused at accomplishing the goals it needed to accomplish and how every little detail was a product of this and it accomplished that and in the future this and that and it all works together. We will be privileged to actually experience that in the world to come. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, okay. All right. Let's continue.
Sure.
All right.
What if we were to say no?
Then I would tell you could go.
He asked if it's okay if we move on, and I'm like, what if I said no? Or
And
what
I
if
said,
was-
go ahead,
and then
move on.
And then he'd be like, leave, bye.
Yeah. See, how's that for class management? There we
I
go.
mean,
Use that a lot.
The difference between like teaching middle schoolers and teaching adults.
Yeah, what is it? Go
I
ahead.
can actually tell them to get out. I can't do that with middle schoolers.
Yes, v'tzarech sheteda.
Sure did
But
try.
I could.
I sure did try.
V'tzarech sheteda. You need to know. Kihine. Af al pi shebe'emes sibas kol inyoni hatoy b'chol makom shehem. Even though the truth is that the cause for everything good, wherever it may be, Pirish, meaning be'em b'kochos, be'em b'tol, the same whether it's up in the spiritual kochos or it's down here in the physical world. Hine hi ha'aras panav yisbarach shemai k'mosh zacharnu. This is the light of Hashem, as we've explained. V'tzibas hara b'chol makam shu, and the cause of bad, wherever it may be, is helem ha'arasa. This is the hiding of Hashem's light. Abnam, however, l'taiv yitayar ha'adain baruch hu b'shem siba mamish l'chol v'leprata. When it comes to the goodness, Hashem is directly connected, and Hashem is the direct source of the goodness, wherever it may be, all the details, all the general parts, everything about it, that is directly a product of Hashem's light. Aval l'ra, but when it comes to the evil in the world, we will not consider Hashem the actual source, the direct cause of bad. Ki amnam ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu miyachad shmei al hara. Because the Medrash says Hashem does not associate His name with evil, meaning to say Hashem is not the direct cause of evil. Ela helam oirei. It's simply Hashem's lack of light, or the lack of something receiving the light from Hashem. The hester panav, and Hashem is hiding His face. Yechashiv l'shayrish le. That is the source. So it's not that Hashem sends darkness. It's that the lack of the light allows for darkness to be present. So it's a manifestation of a lack of Hashem, so to speak, not a product of Hashem. Okay, so there's a big difference between the good and the bad. The good is Hashem sending the good. Hashem is putting the good here. The evil is Hashem backing off, so to speak. Hester panim. Hashem is hiding Himself, and in that hidden state, bad can kind of come naturally, so to speak. It's available, it's possible to manifest because Hashem's light isn't there to clarify everything for us.
So it's like in Bereshit.
What do you mean? Go ahead, Leanne.
No,
You were
about
first.
Hashem creating light and dark. One's formed and like, isn't that what that's about?
Okay, so when Hashem created light and darkness, there are different opinions as to exactly how that worked. Was darkness a creation or not? Most opinions say that yes, darkness absolutely was a creation. And in that sense, that darkness is not talking about evil as a creation, but darkness in the physical sense of a lack of light. In the spiritual sense of a lack of light, that wouldn't be a creation. And this is based on a pasuk that we will see in a moment, where he uses different wording for darkness and light. So we'll get there in a minute. Yes, Michelle.
I was going to say, it's almost like he's turning his back on the situation.
Yes, Hester Punim is a hiding Hashem's face. And then things can kind of develop on their own, so to speak.
Not very nice.
Is it taken from our choices?
Does Hashem hide His face because of our choices? Sometimes.
No, I mean,
Not necessarily, but
like,
sometimes.
is there like a ratio? For example, is we make choices, but there's a certain amount of free will that we always need to be allowed. So the choices go up, which are mixed, and then Hashem always has to have like a 50-50 thing coming down for each person, right? So
No.
does He take
No.
a 50?
No.
He's
Hold
talking
on.
about the choice.
Hold
Remember
on.
we said this
Hold on.
concept
All right,
of-
hold on. Let's clarify here. When we said that choices need to always be 50-50, that's at the moment of a test. The moment of a challenge, there has to be 50-50. That doesn't mean 24/7, every choice you make is 50-50 between good and bad. That's not what it means. It means that there are moments in which Hashem allows us opportunities to grow. And at those moments, it's 50-50.
Wow, that's tough.
Why?
Because Hashem's constantly has
Busy
to
guy.
set it up that way.
Yes. You mean it's tough for Hashem to set up?
Yeah.
I think He's got it.
Busy dude.
I think He's got
No,
it.
I mean,
He's been at it for a few thousand years, you know.
no, but it's also looking at everything is
Yes.
it's very complicated.
It is very complicated. Yeah, don't try this at home. But yeah, so understand, the 50-50 choice thing is when there's a moment of growth, a moment of challenge, an opportunity for growth, that has to be 50-50 in order for us to grow. Okay? That doesn't mean that all day, every choice we make is a 50-50 between good and bad. Right? If I choose to have, cereal A or cereal B for breakfast, that's not a 50-50 good and bad choice. Right?
Well,
Depends on the cereal, yeah.
So,
Is it regular cereal or Pesach?
no, that's not a choice. That's not a choice.
I have two
Pesach
questions.
cereal is not in the
First
category.
one might be kind of redundant, so sorry. The first question is, okay, I understand, source of light coming through means goodness will happen. And I understand that the source of light being blocked or filtered out in some way gives the opportunity for the manifestation of bad. I guess where I'm getting confused is what is the factor that causes the diminishing of or blocking of the light?
Okay, so you want to know when does Hashem choose to block that light and when does He not choose that?
I think
So
this is probably a numerable answer.
no, so he said before. He said Hashem in His great wisdom maneuvers things to fit with the system of the universe. Things have to work out with a certain plan. Everything needs to happen at certain times and places. All sorts of things, billions, trillions. I mean, like you're saying, innumerable number of things need to work out in order for the world to function. And based on that, Hashem makes these bad spots, so to speak, where they need to be. So there's no way for us to answer that question. Like Leanna's saying, that's a really complex system that none of us are going to understand while we live.
Changing equation.
Oh, constantly, and it's not just a simple equation. You're talking about taking the entire universe into account at every moment, and then you have to take everybody's choices into account because the things that they choose are going to have certain natural effects.
Or you could
So you
just
have to work
ignore
all
all
that
of
out.
it because it's very overwhelming. Like I think I
Totally
just
overwhelming.
Like I said, you can just leave if this isn't for you.
like no, you think about like I think it's in
Don't
small
forget your second
spurts.
question.
Yeah, in small spurts. Sorry, it always, but like there's so much complication here that if you were to sit down and really think about like every choice you make, like it would drive you nuts.
Yeah.
And then you start having intrusive thoughts about things like last week, right? And then, well, I watched the video. I'm sad I missed class last week, but
We all are. Don't worry.
I think that there's a point in which you have like this is probably why we get to the point where we just accept that this is what it is, and then we just kind of make our choices with a little bit of understanding that it affects things. But if you were to sit down and really like go through it all, you would drive yourself nuts.
Or you make all the right choices. One or the other.
No, because it's not that clear cut. I ask you all the time, like, what does this mean if this is being presented? Is this Hashem telling me I should make this decision, or is it the Yetzer Hara saying I should make
And what do I
this
tell
decision?
you?
We don't know.
Yeah?
I don't know.
Right. I usually give you an answer.
Not
You.
listening.